Hey everyone, Corey here, coming in to do the recording for this full moon in Pisces. This is on September the 18th, 17th, 18th in that area. The energy of the full moon does play out for a few days before, so you may be feeling the effects of it today, but it also is in the energy throughout the coming days after. But we are in eclipse season now. So during this whole eclipse season, there is a lot of kind of um, auspicious, I guess would be the word, energy that is coming up. So there's a lot of things that are very kind of unpredictable. And so there is a level of unpredictable energy that's in here. You just sometimes, it's like having the injured little pet, the animal who's got a little bit of fear in it and doesn't know, and you just don't know how they're going to react or respond. And so the energy has a little bit of that in there as well. This is a partial eclipse that is falling under this full moon, and it is in Pisces. So we have a lot of water. This Pisces brings in, the fish. It swims back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. It goes around. And so we often do better in this energy by really truly being with people. So there's a lot of we energy in here. So calling in and working with, if you work in the spiritual world with, or if you are very spiritual, some people of my work are very logical and they take my spiritual work and they blend it into being able to associate angels back into virtues, whatever works for you, to be able to just see it as energy, to be able to have a visual. We operate on our own sense of how we see things. And so how you're seeing it, how you see the angel of strength, Archangel Michael, how you see it could be an orb, it could be colors, it could be just the virtue of strength. You can feel that inner strength because we operate on a sense of we've been conditioned that everything that is of greatness is outside of us, but everything that is of greatness is actually within us. So we really thrive when we can come together and let go of the energy of, say, for example, competition. And when we have been conditioned that everyone around you is your competition, you can't trust anybody, you can never trust anyone else, you can't share your ideas, you can't share your work, you can't do this, you got to keep everything to yourself, then you put yourself on an individual island and you can't be around other people. Whereas if you can let that go, you free yourself of that. Well, you find yourself being able to allow in more and more people in your world, but you begin to attract like-mindedness. And that like-mindedness doesn't mean that it's separating anyone else. It means that you find that sense of where you thrive and our environments, and we thrive in the environments that really truly help us grow and evolve. And that's what's really coming up with this energy that we're in, is that this Pisces energy really brings in a sense of we, a sense of community, a sense of connection, being able to make connections, be connected to others, and bringing that forth. And so as I'm seeing this, and as this is unfolding in this full moon, is there is that whole sense of being divided that is more than ever. And it's the we and they, right? It's we against they. These are these kind of people. This is that kind of people. And so the we's become the separation, right? And so when we start to really come back into ourselves and we start to know ourselves on a deeper level, is that we begin to understand things on a deeper level and being able to operate more deeply connected to the sense of our soul and more deeply connected to the sense of spirit. And understanding that within ourselves allows us to be able to understand that in others, because everyone is operating on the program they have been given. And so if they have been conditioned to a lot of fear, or if they're past, so if you are someone who still has a lot of the trauma of the past of relationships, for example. So, you know, you were bullied in school, you were picked on, um, you were always left out, you were always ostracized. Like if you carry that, or if you were always included, always connected, always what, you know, the opposite of all of the traumatic things, and you've had nothing but great experiences, then all of that past energy is rising up. And so we are seeing that sense of it is trying to pull, it's so the negative entity of that, the negative entity, I call it the negative entity. So the negative magnetic pull is trying to pull you away from people that you were even beginning to work yourself towards. So getting back into old systems, old ways, old habits, because they're knowing, you know, those are comfortable. You've been there before. I know that world. So it's very difficult to step sometimes into the world of the unknown, even though you may have been dipping your foot in, because you have all of these old emotions. Emotions are activated by, you know, we activate our own emotions, but all of these memories, we can activate a memory, extract out the emotions we felt and bring that back in. But we're not in high school anymore. We're not in school anymore. And so, but the mentality of what happens in that high school, of the we and the they and the separation, that still exists, but it exists in adult form. And so we are seeing that rise. We're seeing that energy. We're seeing that because what it is that there is a manipulating energy. And so there is that power to manipulate. And so we can convince ourselves, manipulate our own selves. The greatest enemy is within ourselves, right? And it really, truly is. I never know where these rights come from at the end. I hear them coming and I'm like, why does my guide use those? And so I think it's a validation. They're just trying to validate things. And so there's this sense of seeing that energy kind of come out and seeing it being the reactive, the active, what's activating, and being able to create a new sense of self is sometimes, you know, diffusing that which has been the propelling energy of the way that you showed up. And so because it is back again, and because we're seeing it again, I now see it fading. So it is it's here so that it can be dissolved, it can be eradicated from our own lives to set us free from a lot of the old energy. There is just a lot of that shift and change that is speaking to us from this place right now. That's just saying, is this serving me? Is this working for me? Do I want to go this path? Is this my direction? Is this where I want to go? And being aware of how that is coming up. I just got a lot of we and they, and then there's the me. So in my cards, I created the way card, and the way card, the way home card is me, and it's me spelt backwards and me spelt forwards. So when we keep getting farther away from ourselves and we keep being so led by the systems that the programming of our past, is that we're never getting closer to home. We're actually making home outside of ourselves. We're making home in the environment and the world. We're creating our comforts around us, right? We got to be comfortable here. We got to create the comfort. So it's being very aware that sometimes that collective energy that you put yourself into was the same place, the same environment that may have made you not well, made you sick, made you feel uncomfortable, made you feel like you had to try to strive to be somebody you weren't. And so you stop listening to your own inner self. You stop listening to your body. You stop listening to your mind. It's like, oh, well, I got, prime example, me, I went and signed back up to the gym. I've had back surgery. I don't really always feel like being at the gym. And I have struggled that journey back and forth because I was always that active person. And I was so proud of myself for 2 weeks that I signed back up. Now I'm realizing, now I'm still going to go to the gym and do the things that I can do there. But now I'm realizing what the push was, because we have seen the comeback of the shadows. And I mentioned this in the monthly in the last couple monthlies, in the last couple videos, I've been talking about the comeback of the shadow. So you're seeing the comeback of the shadow. You're seeing comebacks of aspects of your past that is trying to bring you back to what felt safe. And that is often in the systems, the programming of where we previously existed. But finding your way back and working so hard, if you have been working your way home, or if you're only just feeling this for the first time, it's like, why do I keep doing this? Why do I keep repeating this? Why do I keep believing this? Why do I get tangled up in this? Why do I keep trying to fit myself here when there's a whole collective of beautiful people, beautiful energy, beautiful place where I could totally be myself. I could be me. And having that experience and having that moment, but then denying that to yourself, taking that opportunity away from yourself because the comforts are there. And so that sense of the me and the coming back is the me that becomes the we, right? And so when we can really connect that from the me to the we, it's a total flip around. We flip things around. So we don't bring the comeback of the shadow. We bring in the aspect of inviting in our own light, inviting in our divinity, inviting in the divine self, being able to see the power that can unfold when we resist to keep returning to something that we so-called have been so programmed and conditioned, say, well, that's my safety, that's where I belong. And so that could totally be the things that kind of were the place of where you're like, everybody treats me this way. Everybody is this way towards me. I have no friends. I have no people. All of that energy is here. So there is kind of a setup. So we're being set up in some way, and not set up to fail, but to see how far we have actually evolved, how much we have grown, how much we have learned, how much we have taken in. And so the last couple of days in my own healing has been about the fact that I'm telling myself, well, you really are not that smart. Like if you go and listen to all of those Instagram spiritual videos, man, they're like, they can reel out what this means and that means and da da da. You can't even remember your own teachings sometimes. And it's like, and then I'm clearly have to remember I am a clear channel and I'm that wide open and everything is stored. I can access things when I need it. But that's the comeback of the shadow. And what the comeback of the shadow is then trying to get me to give more, to do more, to try to prove that self again. But when you have nothing left to prove, you have nothing left to validate, you have nothing left to try to create a safety because you're safe, you're safe with yourself, then you stop seeking the things that you already know that you have, that you already know you are. And so you stop looking outside of that self. And then you can belong nowhere, but belong everywhere. You can be in places, you can fit in places. You just know you enough to know that you belong. And this is what this moon is really trying to bring us to. It's trying to pull us through that last little piece of the journey. It's trying to bring us to that last of what we call the 360 circle, that last quarter mile, to be able to get there, to be able to go into that next stage. And so the one thing that often society and collective energy is looking for on an earthly scale is the essence of validation, safety, and security, right? And so the whole world is telling us on the outside, we're not safe, we are not secure, and that we need to seek deeper validation. And the validation is to get back into any old program, any old systems, any old ways, because you're going to be safe in there. That's predictability. And because we have so much unpredictable energy, we're being kind of, through the imitation of the light, we're being fed that sense of get back to the predictable. This is predictable. This is safe. But how do we know it really is? Because ultimately there is nothing that is really that predictable, really that safe, really that secure. It's the illusions that we create, that we tell ourselves, because we can create the walls around us. And so go to the nursery rhyme of the three little pigs, right? The three little pigs. And so the essence of the brick is within ourselves, is we can build a hut. They're getting excited here. You can build a hut around you, and that hut can be built around you. If you build it of straw, well, that wolf can still blow it down, right? But you feel safe for a moment. It is no different than the houses we live in that have glass windows. We lock the doors at night because we have doors, but right next to the doors or in the doors, there is glass. That glass is broke. But the predictability is that I've locked the door, so I am safe. And that is where it is. And so the safest place that we can exist is within knowing thyself, knowing this self, and getting to know that there is always outside influences. How do we really thrive? We thrive in creating a sense of community environment where we know we are surrounded, which means our guides, our counsel, our divine support, our mind, body, soul connection, that deeper connection, that sense that expands out into the aura that then becomes magnetic to draw in the same type of people, the people who are invested in being able to know that you are supported, you are loved. And so many times people push themselves out of communities, no matter how much someone shows that they're being kind to them, they're being nice to them. It's you've got to push that away because you've got to get back over here. You've got to be able to exist in the story that's down the road. That's going to be the person who's going to do something else to me. So you've got to push away that so you can get back to your comfort. This is massive right now. This is a massive energy. It is a big energy. The full moon shines a light up on those areas within the shadow, and you'll see it. You'll notice it. How many things, how many habits, how many places, how many old jobs are you researching? How many old things that you have done in the past are you trying to get back to, trying to get to that comfort? How many times have you done something that is outside of the realm of the system? So outside the realms of what we're told is the only way to go, the only way to learn. And then you find something magical, mystical, the woo-woo that's working for you. But you've got to run back over to something else because you can't trust in yourself and your own magic and your own woo-woo and all of those things. Then you're like, you abandon the things that brought you to the place of feeling joy inside of yourself. And you return to the place that feels constricted, constraint, where you feel like you got to be that. I'll be organized in here. But were you happy over here? Was there joy over here? Was there a sense of freedom over here? Because the path and the way is to find that freedom, that sense of liberation, to be able to smile, to be able to wake up and skip around and be of joy. But yet over here, we have this that is saying, but that will not take care of you. But if we can walk into our divine purpose, more and more of activating our joy, our sense of enthusiasm, excitement, everything else begins to provide something more for us. Now, that doesn't mean go, I'll quit your jobs. This doesn't mean walk away from your jobs, from your life, whatever that may be. It means finding space and time where you place the best of you, where the most of you go, and you bring that more and more into your life, into your environment. So your creativity can become your clothes, your hair, those things that kind of are being able to say, this is me. And this is a part of me. This is my truth. And this is who I am. And this is why I live this way. Because if you start to remember why you walked away from some of those things and be totally brutally honest with yourself of why it didn't work, you realize that a lot of that was created for the false version of self, not the truest version of self. What was I feeling like? What was I existing in? How magical was it? How much happier was I? What did the joy feel like? And finding that within and noticing that within yourself. So we have this massive channeling message that is just like, I feel like it's just reeling through, and I'm just here bearing witness to this experience. And I know this is communicating to us in a way that says, catch this moment, catch this time, catch this step, catch this thought that you're about to let become an action, a reality, this thought that's about to take you all over the place. And so we're swimming here and there. So it's that going back and forth, and we'll always access all the information. The memories will always be there, but it's accessing the truth, accessing what was really happening. accessing the fact that maybe somebody was being super kind to you. Maybe someone was really being super nice to you, but you had to find the one thing that they were not doing right, and say, no, can't trust them. They got to go right now. And it's because we got to get back to the basement, right? And the more we rise within ourselves, the more we ascend, the more we climb, the more we grow, the more we evolve. There's not as many in the group, but more and more walk towards that community, that group, that whatever that may be. And so there is a sense of, as I said, unpredictability, which brings in the war energy, which brings in the fighting, the conflicts that is in the collective energy. But if you pull everything back into yourself, well, there's a war, a conflict, a not knowing which side to be on. So if we get back to the neutral, if we come back home to ourselves, this is the place of neutrality. This is where we know all truth will reveal itself. And if I be patient and persistent and keep working in this light and from this place, I will know the way. And the way will start to reveal itself. And I'll be able to feel the way. I'll be able to see the way. And I'll be able to get to that way. And I'll know the place that I'm meant to go to. I'll know that direction. And so this energy has a lot of opportunity for you to really sit with your journal, really sit down and look at things in a new perspective, and really look at how it may be trying to influence relationships, how it may be trying to influence taking you back to an old path, maybe walking away from healthy relationships, healthy friendships, healthy partnerships, whatever that may be. And there's a lot of that kind of doubt that is being fed in. There's a lot of this energy. There's a lot of emotions. And there is, like I said, a lot of unpredictable, which means that as we come through this moon, there could be some sort of like invasion of energy coming in, which means there can also be some sort of invasions. There can be broken contracts. There can be a sense of disappointment. There can be a flip. Last week I called that I was seeing something happening to a world leader or something like that. And of course there was this news announcements that came out that was like, this was possible. It didn't happen, but it was a possible energy. And so there's always possibility. It doesn't mean things are going to unfold. What we do is we call in the light and we ask for anything that is hurtful, harmful, anything that could cause destruction. We ask for there to be divine intervention that stops these things, that breaks up this energy. We can't control it all. And there's the fate of people, and people still have free will. The human world has free will. And so just because we see it and we can pray over it and we can call in divine and we call in the angels, the guides, is that there is a free will choice. So you always have the free will choice, and your free will choice will always exist. Now there is, like I said, there with this on the back end of this, I am seeing massive kind of like hurricane kind of energy coming in. And so this is on the back end though, not in the beginning, but this is opening. So there is a divine light coming in. There is a divine intervention light coming in. So you may be saying, oh, I'm going to go back to this. But then if it's an old job or an old relationship, and then something reveals itself, and you're like, well, it didn't work out. Well, say thank you that you didn't get it. Say thank you it didn't work out, because there is some divine intervention that just says, let's just close the door on that. Let's just shut that down now. Let's make sure that's not getting in. So there is a lot of miracle energy that also comes in with this, because it does have it does have the power of the divine intervention. It has the power of the divine that brings forth. So it may be some struggles. It may be something that's been a continue in your life, and you just feel this healing. So if you ask for healing. So one of my big things is in fear of authorities and finding my own inner authority, my own power. I'm afraid, but I'm still walking this way. I've never done such a big tour, and I'm about to walk into a great big tour and travel across Newfoundland and do a big tour in Newfoundland, going back to my home. And then I'm ending in St. John's, and it's scary. And my experiences of St. John's was my last experience of being in St. John's was me actually flying out to leave Newfoundland for the last time and fly and live here. but I also went to school there. I also worked at Lemoyne. I went to school and worked at Lemoyne School of Hair Design. And I remember these past few days, and I worked downtown, and I remember that fearful, that insecure young girl. And I remember the self-sabotage. I remember what I sabotaged. I remember exactly what I sabotaged. I remember the opportunities that I was being given that were being put to me on a plate. But my determination, my shadow was like, no, I'm going back to my small town. I'm going back to this old, very unhealthy relationship. I'm going to live there. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. And it was disastrous. The job wasn't disastrous. The people were great, but the path, and I don't know what the other path would have turned out like because I didn't walk it. But I do know. And so there is no shoulda, coulda, woulda. There's no regrets. I took the path I was supposed to. But what I do now remember, and what I'm so apologetic to that version of myself, was the sense of not being able to trust what I knew, because my trust was that I really knew with everything in my heart I needed to go to this private school. I needed to train under Alan Lemoyne. He was the best of the best. I needed to work with his wife, Berta. I needed to get to that school. I needed to go there. I knew I needed to be there. And everything, I knew it was my place. And I was so at home there. But there was a lot of hurt stories that came with it. There was a lot of strings pulling from every direction to pull me somewhere else. And there was a lot of insecurity and fears in a young girl who was 18, who didn't know until she was in her 50s, 40s, 50s, the power of coming home and what it meant to come back to myself and to get to this place within where I question those doubts now. I question those things. And I know I know all of the coaching things, and I remember them so clear of what Alan Lemoyne had done for me. And bless his heart, he's still here. That he tried to get me to see me, and I couldn't see me. And it was a long journey getting to see the me that is of the we, that is of the divine, that is of the aspects of your higher self, that is glowing from the soul of you, the spirit of you. And so when you start to really understand what it means that you are not who you think you are, you're not who you tell yourself you are, you're so much more, and there's so much more there. But it's like when we think we know, we have to recognize the ego has a lot of fragments of broken energy. And when we can take out the shards of hurt and pain and doubt and words that were given onto us, our self-consciousness, our self-esteem, those things start to have a new reflection. And we start to reflect in, and we say, that just was never true. And I'm thankful maybe I've taken this road. But imagine if I had have just listened. So if I begin to listen now, and I begin to walk this path, as hard as it is, as fearful as it is, as scary as it is, but if I go this way and I don't let myself sabotage, what else is possible? And so we can feel the joy through the fear. You can feel the excitement. You can feel the enthusiasm. You can feel the excitement through the fear, through everything that is saying, maybe you shouldn't do that. You can't do that. Why can't I do that? Why can't I be that? Why can't I live that life? Why not? Why not me? And so that's why not you? Why not you? Why not you be a part of a bigger community? Why not you have beautiful people around you? Why not you have a beautiful life? And the world will say, well, because only certain kind of people can have that. Only the 1% is like this. Well, why can't we all become a 1%? Why can't we all? And so there is a lot of things trying to burst those little bubbles of possibility inside of you. And those are our sparks of our divine. That's the aspects of something so great that exist within you. But the power of the mind to take us away from that is so powerful that you can believe that to be your truth. And it's so speaking to us right now. And I know this is a big message and there's a lot of energy. So if you place that at every area in your life, if you sit down with your journal during this full moon, I really suggest sitting down with your journal and look at all of the experiences of where you may have had opportunities or where you wanted something so bad, but you rejected it. You walked away from. You had somebody, a friend, a person that was trying to be so kind to you, loving you, and you either walked away, or you have people in your life and you keep bringing in the critic. You keep going, well, they don't give me no attention. They don't call me. They don't text me. So I'm getting out of this. I'm done. Blah, blah, blah. Catch that shadow in its tracks, because it's trying to feed the hungry ghost of fear. And this Piscean energy has a lot of intuition, intuitive. And the Pisces is known to be intuitive. It is the last of the zodiac. So that it's like, oh, I'm being left out. So there's a lot of doom comes in with that. There's a lot of insecurity, but there's also a lot of intuition. So being the last means being the babe, they're not the baby, but being like, say like the youngest child being born. No one's paying attention, so they can do more of what they want because they're too busy, right? After 6, 7 children, then along comes the last one. Well, you can do whatever you want. So this is when you remember, I get to think whatever I want. I get to be whatever I want. I get to do whatever I want, because who else is telling me? It's only someone else's thoughts that someone else's thoughts that become words that hypnotized you to believe that you couldn't, that you weren't beautiful, that you couldn't be this, that you'll never have this, that you'll never. So if you start really questioning that authority that has such power over you, you start to recognize, yeah, I can. Yeah, I can do this. I can do that. I can be this. I can be that. And it can happen. And it can take place. And it can be magical. And I can make all of this work. And I can thrive in this. So there is a sense of thriving and growth and development. And it's just so powerful that it just makes me, like, I get so excited. So this is a very exciting moon. It can be a very fun moon. It can be something that is very powerful. This can be your enlightening moment. This can be an awakening, an ascension, or this can take you back down the same old path. And if you say same old path, you're just going to have a longer road. That's all. It's just going to have to be a bumpier road. You're just going to take the long way around. You'll get there. You'll get there, because we're all getting there. We're all going to the same place. We all have the same destination. We all have the same place. We all belong. We all have the same light. We all have the same amount of love. We all have the same of everything. It's just, we are so believing that we don't. And so we can be this. So imagine if the whole collective world on a big scale, like all the leaders could grow up emotionally, spiritually, because they're all chasing that validation. So if they all grew up, if they all matured, if they all acted like the authority of the divine, we wouldn't have the problems we have. We would have hospitals. We would have peace. We would have no hunger. We would have nothing. So imagine how much is wasteful that is supported, because we're being told to feed the big shadows, believe the big shadows. They know more than we know. No, we know something inside of ourselves. And when we start to wake up to know that inside of ourselves, we don't see ourselves or our neighbors as our enemies. We see ourselves as the possibility that we all have the spark of the divine. We all have the love, and we have much to give and much to share. And it starts with us. We can be the change that we want to see in the world. Be that today. So journal this through, spend some time with this, listen to this video a few times. Whatever this is, there is some big energy and some big messages that are in here. I send you so much love. Thank you for being here. And if you want to take part in my upcoming The Way of the Mystic course, it is a 4-week masterclass. The registration is still open. It starts on the 18th, so we're starting on the full moon. They are recorded as well, so if you can't make it to the live, you can take the recordings as well. And they do come with some activations. We do some journaling. You do some meditation. Help clear out some old energy, whatever that may be. It is the soul revival of the divine feminine. Is the series that this is actually in. And so it is on the More Than Existing Academy of Higher Consciousness, which is mteacademy.ca, or go to my website, CorrieThorne-Cameron.com, and you can register, sign up. I am in Macomb in person teaching class on intuition this coming weekend. On Saturday, the 21st, And then I'm in Newfoundland in October. Corner Brook, Gander, Grand Falls, and St. John's for the messages from heaven, connecting to spirit, giving messages. And then on the 20th of October, I'm in Grand Falls again, offering an empowerment transformation workshop, which is 11 to 4 on the Sunday. So if you'd like to take part in that, just go to my website, go to CorrieThorne.com, and you can get into that. Get your tickets. All the tickets are on Eventbrite, and if you don't want to use Eventbrite, you can message me personally, and we'll help you out. And yeah, and if my books, my cards, all on the website. All the links are down below. If you love these videos, please hit the subscribe button and hit the notification bell so that you get all the updates of when new videos will be arriving. I send you so much love, and do check out your end of the year zodiac energy updates for each and every sign. There's 6 up. There's more coming today. I send you much love. Bye-bye.